Less than 8 months ago, I set out to run a max effort 5K. I chose a crisp autumn evening, put on my best running outfit, did an elaborate warm-up, and I ended up with a time of 27 minutes and 34 seconds. Now, just last week, I went out for a casual lunchtime run. It was relatively warm, I did no stretch, no warm-up, and I comfortably ran the same distance in just over 21 minutes. So I reckon with a few leg swings and a couple of toe touches, I would have been well under that 20-minute mark, but that's a video for another day. So what changed in the last 8 months to help me make such a drastic improvement, and what adjustments can you make to your training to do the same? Before we get to that, we need to understand how I got here in the first place. So as a kid and a teenager, I was always relatively chubby and unathletic and never really into any sports. So after high school, I started lifting weights and started to attach a lot of my self-worth to the strength and muscle that I was building. Because of this, I started to see cardio as a threat because I was afraid it would make me lose that strength and muscle. Regardless, 2 years ago, I went out and attempted an all-out 5K and it took me over 30 minutes. So despite looking quite fit because of going to the gym for many years, I was anything but that. This kind of motivated me to start running more regularly, and after a few months of training here and there, I managed to just barely run a 5K in 25 minutes. The issue was I actually had no idea what I was doing, and after a few more months of training like this, I was making no progress and ended up injuring my knee to the point where I couldn't even run without pain. So then I kind of gave up on running for a bit, did a bit of rehab and built back up slowly. Once I was fully recovered, I went out and attempted a max effort 5K again, and this was the one where I managed to time just over 27 minutes. So here I was over a year into running, and I'd only gone from a 30-minute 5K to a 27.5-minute 5K, which is atrocious. At this point, I decided enough was enough, and I started following a structured training program. I finally started doing a lot of things right, and this led me to just last week when I was able to comfortably run a 5K in just over 21 minutes, almost 2 years after starting my running journey. Now, as you can imagine, I learned a lot through this process, and knowing what I know now, I believe I could cut this 2-year process down into just a few months. Let's break down the mistakes that I made so you know what to avoid, and let's go through the highest leverage changes you can make to your training to get faster in no time. Okay, the first mistake that I made, and this is something I've seen a lot of beginners do, is go out and run a hard 5K once or twice a week and basically try and PR on every single run. Now, as a beginner, this actually does make a lot of sense because if you are going out every single run and improving a little bit, why wouldn't you just keep getting faster and faster? And at first, this does actually help you make a little bit of progress. This is how I got from the 30-minute 5K down to 25 minutes. The issue is, however, this type of training is not sustainable at all. You will plateau very fast, and just like me, you're going to get injured. Another mistake that I made was keeping all of my runs at or below 5 kilometers. Now, I did this for a really long time because I kind of just assumed that I wouldn't need to run further than the distance I was trying to improve at, and I was kind of afraid of the time and energy commitment of doing longer runs. This mindset kept me stuck in the same place for so much longer than I needed to be. Alright, mistake number 3 that I made was neglecting my strength training, especially legs. I assumed that my legs were already getting quite fatigued from running, so there was no need to add additional stress on them by training legs, and because of this, I ignored my lower body strength for a really long time. But the reality is, you need strong legs to run fast. After a certain point, your cardiovascular system is no longer going to be limiting how fast or far you can run, but rather it's going to be the strength of your legs. Do not neglect strength training. The last major mistake that I made was running with a low cadence. Now, when I first started running, I had no idea what cadence even was, let alone the fact that it was important. I kind of just assumed that bigger, stronger steps would lead to a faster pace, and because of this, now for anyone who knows anything about cadence, you'll know just how bad this was, but I was running with a cadence of 140. That's right, I was doing 140 steps per minute, and this is probably a large part of why I was getting burnt out so quickly and why I even got injured in the first place. Okay, let's break down how I overcame these mistakes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you do not want to be running hard / trying to PR on every single run. The key to getting faster is to build up a high volume of running without getting injured. And to do this, you need to do easy runs. Now, most of my runs throughout the week are at an easy pace, and this will differ for different people depending on what stage you're at. But the easiest way to tell if you're running at an easy pace is if you can hold a conversation while you're running. If you're running alone, you can just try saying a sentence out loud and see how it feels, but you will figure this out as you go. Easy runs allow you to run more without accumulating a large amount of fatigue or getting injured, and they have the added benefit of building up your base cardiovascular system. So almost counterintuitively, you need to run slower to run faster. Okay. Building on top of this, you want to do runs that are longer than 5 kilometers. Although it might seem redundant to run longer than 5k if you're just trying to improve at the 5k distance, this could not be further from the truth. These longer runs allow you to reap the benefits of easy pace running, as you can really soak in that cardiovascular endurance. They also really help with the mental aspect of making the 5k distance feel shorter in comparison, which makes a big difference when you're deep into a 5k PR attempt and it feels like you have forever to go. Okay, next up, you need to strengthen your legs. As I mentioned earlier, you need strong legs in order to make progress and run fast. Although it may feel like you're just adding extra fatigue to your legs, in the long term, this will help you sustain a greater load without burning out. The first thing you can do is incorporate interval, tempo, and hill runs into your weekly routine, but just keep in mind these should still only make up a smaller portion of your training compared to your easy runs. The next thing you want to do is train heavy at the gym. You really want to focus on that strength building rep range, which is around 3 to 8 reps, and use progressive overload. Now, this also has the added benefit of maintaining or even building muscle mass, which is personally really important to me. Alright, let's talk about cadence. Having a higher cadence means you're taking more steps, which means you're actually applying less pressure on your legs per step that you take. So this helps you avoid overuse injury and actually reduces the overall amount of energy that your body is using, therefore reducing your heart rate and allowing you to go faster or run for longer. Now, to fix my low cadence, what I did was actually quite simple. I used the metronome feature on my Garmin watch, and what I would do is gradually increase the beats per minute by around 2 or 3 per week. After about a month, I was able to increase my cadence from 140, which is considered the danger zone, to over 160, which has made a massive difference to my performance with running. Alright, let's summarize everything we just went to into an actionable plan. Quick caveat, everyone is at different stages and has their own situation, so feel free to adjust this to whatever works best for you. First off, you'll want to do around 3 to 4 easy runs per week. For these ones, just focus on enjoying them and focus on your form. You'll want to add in 1 or 2 interval / tempo / hill runs per week. Then you'll want to do 1 longer run per week. Usually I prefer to do this on the weekend, but that's up to you. Now, on some of your easier runs, use a metronome and try and match your steps to the beat. And as I mentioned earlier, just try and gradually increase it until you get to above 160. Once you have this down, gradually increase your paces and distances over the course of a few months. And finally, at the end of this, test your 5k time and be surprised by how much you've improved. Now, if you are interested in becoming a better runner while also getting stronger at the gym, check out this video that I made on how I balance running and lifting in a realistic way. And until next time, peace.